Hello, I'm Brandy Potter, author of Venomous Lives, co-editor of Written By Magazine, a magazine for independent artists to showcase their work, and a vlogger. Today's topic is why video is so important to authors. But first, I must ask you to excuse me a bit. I always use notes, but I very rarely read from them, and today I will be doing a little bit of that because this topic is so near and dear to my brand. And let's talk about branding. Branding is a topic that some of you get offended by because you feel that you are being objectified by the word, and that's just not the case. We do know that you are people, but your readers and your audience will be drawn to you by who you are, what you represent, where and when they notice you, why you're relevant, and how you represent your own work, your brand. All independent artists rely on branding. This is because they're not known. They have to prove that they are just as good as the media sensations or brand name authors and artists around them. They rely on marketing, the support of other artists in their genre, other independent artists, reputation, and clear branding. And without appropriate marketing, we don't stand out. Without standing out, you're only going to sell books to your friends and family. And while that's great for everybody to go, hey, look what she did, it's not going to support your dream of making a living as an author. Mainstream publishers do not want this movement to succeed. And by this movement, I mean that we, the authors, are taking the business out of the art and bringing the art back. And so in order for us to gain the attention that we need and to sell the books that we would like to, we have to make enough noise to be noticed. So how do we make enough noise to be noticed? Well, in this digital age, we use what the biggest technology we have available to us is, and that is the internet and video. Let's talk about social networking for a minute. Facebook is a social network. It is good for marketing, and that's true, and many businesses use it, but more and more are heading back to using their own websites and advertisements. The reason for this is that if you do a little bit of research, you will find that Instagram, followed by Twitter, are the fastest growing social platforms. They're great. I encourage each and every one of you to get one. I encourage each and every one of you to have a Facebook. But their format and length limitations are confining, to say the least. They're not conducive to authors. YouTube and other such sites do not have the restrictions that they have, and in fact can reach more devices than they can. And here's why. Almost all internet-ready platforms, PlayStations, internet TVs, internet DVD players, phones, Kindles, and such have a browser. And if you have a browser, you can get to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of those things. But if you have a TV or a DVD player like I have that do not have a browser and therefore you can't get out to the internet, you have to rely on widgets or apps. Most internet-ready DVDs, TVs, PlayStations, Xboxes, whatever, have an app or a widget. Now, PlayStations, Xboxes, of course, can get out to the internet, so it's not that critical for them. But if you have those things and you have a YouTube app, you're reaching more devices. There are 165 million written blogs on the internet today. Not all of them are about writing, of course, but there are still 165 million of them, and so to say that that market is oversaturated is not an understatement. This is not to say that blogs are irrelevant or expressive or fun. This is not to say that you should not participate in them. You should. but it is to say that you need to make your web page stand out. And make no mistake, your blog is a web page. This is why you can buy domain names for them. To make a web page stand out, I want you to think about something. If you go to a web page and it is all writing with no media on it, unless you really want the information, you're not going to stay there. However, if you go to a website that's got pictures and video and music playing and funky things running across the screen, you're going to stay and you're going to try to take in as much information. If you can read as an author, you're probably going to read it. But the mainstream society, if they can get the same information watching a video, that's what they're going to do. Okay, so here's another thing to think about. Not too many people have a vlog, or in our case, a video magazine. And that's great. There's significantly less. I don't know the exact figure because I wasn't able to find it coming into this interview. I apologize. But it's not as common. And that's because people are scared of it, and they really shouldn't be. Google searches YouTube tags better than it searches blog tags. And if you don't believe me, go to WordPress, the free site, go to Help, and click on the difference between a page and a category. If you do not have your blog set up appropriately, it doesn't matter what you tag your entry, Google's not going to find it. However, if your blog links to a YouTube video, Google will still find the YouTube video. Now, I hear a lot of you going, but YouTube's just for teenagers, and America's Funniest Home Videos, and puppies and dogs and kittens and viral video and discovering the next Justin Bieber, oh God forbid. But that's not true. According to their statistics, which I am sure are a little biased, 1 billion unique viewers visit YouTube each month. 6 billion hours of video are watched. 80% of the traffic to YouTube is from outside of the United States, and that 80% contains 61 countries and is in 61 different languages. 40% of their traffic is mobile, and Nielsen reports that YouTube reaches more adults between the ages of 18 and 35, that's the big marketing group everybody targets, than any cable channel. So what does all of that mean? Well, it's exposure. And as we've already said, exposure is critical. Some things to think about and consider before you throw video out the window. Mark Twain, Charles Dickens, Rudyard Kipling, Jane Austen, almost all of your classical artists and authors were independent. They used the technology that was available to them, which was magazines, and they wrote little clips, if you will, or short stories, and when people became interested in them, then they would buy their books. Perfect example of that is Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote Sherlock Holmes, of course. He would write one little Sherlock Holmes blog, if you follow the current show or story, in a magazine each month, and the viewers or readers would go to that. In fact, it got so popular that when he killed Sherlock Holmes off, he had to bring him back because nobody was interested in buying the magazines anymore. That's kind of a powerful thing. Another thing to think about is we've already given you the figure of how many written blogs there are. Yes, you should use them. Yes, you should have your name on a gajillion sites everywhere you can get it. Yes, you should do virtual book tour stops there. You should do reviews there, guest blogs there, and you should reciprocate on your own. But a video is much more exciting. Another thing to consider is that authors, even in this day and age, do interviews. Whenever a new Twilight came out, or a new Harry Potter book, you saw J.K. Rowling, you saw Stephanie Meyers. When a new Stephen King, anything is being released, you see Stephen King. Their readers are so vehement in following them because they know them. They can relate to them. In fact, they know them so well and their work so well, these people don't have to do the interviews anymore. But they do because it gets new readers. So hopefully I've convinced you a little bit about why it's important. What I'd like to do now is go over some do's and don'ts to doing video as an author. Now, I'm going to give you the first tip, and that is that you need to have a YouTube page, and you need to have a descriptive profile on that page. You should have a YouTube page whether you vlog or just do interviews for one simple reason. Sometimes when you do a video, the host of the interview or review or what have you will send you the actual video clip. Now, if you have WordPress, the free site, and some of the other blog tools that are free, you are not allowed to do video on your blog. Let me say you are not allowed to post video on your blog. However, you can post links to a YouTube page. So, if you do a review or a guest blog for somebody as a video and they periodically take the video down, if you instead link to your YouTube page, that video won't come down and it will remain there for your viewers to watch over and over again. Now, for those of you who would like to do a vlog instead of a blog, I have some tips. And then coming up at the end, I'll have some tips for everybody else that just wants to do interviews or guest blogs as video. The first thing you need to do is know the website you're using and how to get around them. For example, I used WordPress and the categories versus pages. You need to know that if you put a blog on a page and do not put it in a category, Google's not going to search that. The pages are for static pages that don't change. You need to know that. You need to learn your way around. You need to know how to create menus that contain your categories so that you can still get to different categories and have pages or tabs or what have you, but still have your blog searchable. Okay. Tags. That's another big one. You need to tag appropriately, but you also need to use as many tags as possible. Here's a good example. Totally not literary. My co-editor Lizzie pointed out that if you wanted to search Tom Hiddleston, who is the actor that plays Loki in the movies Thor 2, and the Avengers, and hopefully Thor 3, we're hoping, you would search, or you would tag Tom Hiddleston, Thor 2, the Avengers, the director's name, Loki, and Tom Hiddleston. You would not tag Tom Hardy, because while Tom Hardy is great and has been in some stuff, with Tom Hiddleston. He has nothing to do with Loki. You would also not tag Chris Hemsworth, because whatever your post is about is not about Chris Hemsworth. This is kind of for everybody, but you need to separate your writing stuff from your personal stuff. I have a personal Facebook page. I also have my author's page and an author's fan page. I do not post anything personal on my author's webpage. Why? Because as cute as Johnny's piano recital might be, if you're doing a business Facebook or vlog, nobody wants to see little Johnny's piano recital. So just like if you had a store and you wanted to have a Facebook for it or YouTube for it, you would not put little Johnny's piano recital in there, even if he is the next Mozart. That being said, you do want to cross-promote. Now, that may sound a bit hypocritical, but it really isn't, and let me explain why. I already said I have a Facebook, and I have a Twitter, and Lizzie has a Facebook, a Twitter, an Instagram, and probably 12 other things that I've never even heard of, because she's so much more tech savvy than me. But we both are on Written By as co-editors. We also have another blog that we're doing to show generational opinions on other art and travel and our Disney obsession, and to do fun top 10 lists just because we want to have fun with it. And she has a music review page where she reviews albums that are coming out, shows that she's been to, mostly independent artists, but some mainstream stuff. We promote all of that on everything we've got. We market to our personal Facebooks and personal accounts because we want our family and friends to know about it. We market to our cross blogs because some people might like the way Lizzie reviews music, so they want to come see how she reviews books, and vice versa. Some people might like our top 10 list and want to come over and take a look at our video magazine. There's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, the best way to get anybody to your blog page is to have other bloggers recommend it and to have your audience recommend it. So you want to make sure that everybody knows about everybody else. Another thing that is very, very critical is never stop video. If there is no news during the week, the news still comes up with news. So your blog needs to be. You need to have, if you're going to have a vlog, one video every month. Do a writing tips interview. Do a book trailer. Book trailers are so much fun. And if you go out to the internet and look at all the things that you can do with video and to video, I usually have a green screen behind me. I'm not doing it today because I'm trying to show you how simplistic video can be. If you have fun with it, you can do a trailer for your book or your friend's book or an Austen book and just have a good time. It's still video. The more videos you have, the better. That being said, another good thing to do, host, host, host. The best supporter of any group of independent artists is other artists. In the independent music scene, in the independent movie scene, you will see directors, actors, other bands supporting each other, promoting each other. And you will see that the people that gain the worst reputations are the ones that don't and badmouth others. So you want to make sure you're not doing any of that either. Even if you hate somebody's writing or whatever, constructively criticize. Okay, so that was all for the vlogs. Now we're going to talk about if you're doing an interview or a book review or a guest blog or what have you for a host or for another person. You want to subscribe to their page, their YouTube page, their blog, however they're posting it, you want to subscribe. Why? Because your subscribers will see that you did it. You will be advertising that you're going to be there. The host will be advertising that you're going to be there. If you build it, they will come, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Prepare. Watch other interviews that they have done, or guest blogs that they have done, or other reviews that people have done. Ask questions of your host or the authors whose book you're reviewing. Know your deadlines. Know what's expected of you. And Written By, we have several VBT stops, virtual book tour stops. We explain what we want under them. We have an interview, we have a guest blog, we have another forum. Anything that you do on Written By is explained. And if you have questions, we will gladly say, this is what we expect. Or look at this video that we did. We will explain it to you. If it is an interview, know your questions. We ask the same 20 questions of every author that does an interview for us. It doesn't get boring because we fill in with questions about, what's your book about? Okay, and then we'll ask more questions about that. So it's always a different interview. But we ask the same 20 questions, and that questionnaire gets sent to the authors that are doing the interview prior to the interview so that they know what's coming. They can know the answers. They can have the answers written in front of them and make sure they hit point by point what they want to say. And use notes. I've already said I always use notes. I don't always read them, but I do use them. One of the biggest things that bothers both Lizzie and I in any independent artist, but especially in the authors that we interview, is they don't care. And what I mean by they don't care is I cannot tell you what people will come and do interviews in. We have had several interviews that we won't even post. One of them was a lady who did an interview in a room that looked like it was from the TV show Hoarders. And for those of you who don't know what Hoarders is, it is a TV show about hoarding. And it was disgusting. We have posted other interviews, and you can go look at them in cluttered rooms, in rooms that you're focused on the room and not on the person. We've done other interviews with people who have shown up without their hair and makeup done. You need to do every interview, every video, like it is on Good Morning America, broadcast to 5 billion people around the world. Why? Because that is how you represent you. And if you don't care, why should anybody else? You should also be comfortable, not formal. Again, your readers, your audiences are going to come and read your book because they've heard what it's about and they like you. So if you're speaking the Queens and prim and proper and act like Laurence Olivier, unless there are people out there that appreciate Laurence Olivier in their personal reading style, they're not going to come and read your book. You also need to be you. Now, if you are Laurence Olivier, be Laurence Olivier. But if you're like me and you're quirky and you have fun and you say whatever comes off the top of your head and are dry, sarcastic, and whatever, be that person. The best interviews that Lizzie and I did were with Joe Linsdell and an artist named Karai Medill. I think I'm saying that right. Medill. Joe was great because the video feed wasn't going right. I didn't quite know how to use my YouTube, so she was teaching me how to use the Google Plus and all that stuff, and we were getting the video set up, and while we were doing that, we were talking about Rome and our kids and just giggling and laughing. And with Karai, she was sitting in front of her turtles. Her fiance was in and out of the room really quick, so we didn't start the video to all that was taking place, but we were joking around, having a good time. While we were setting up, her and Liz were exchanging words. Liz was off camera. They were talking. And Venomous Lives, for those of you who don't know, is about glam rock bands. So we got talking about bands and stuff that we like. And when the video on those 2 interviews, if you go to Written By and you check them out, when the video on those 2 interviews starts, you immediately know that we're fun people, that we're having fun, that we have a rapport. It is contagious, and it draws you in, and you watch those interviews. They're great. My mother has watched the one with Karai. I can't even tell you how many times. She loves it. Until you are established, the 3 topics that you need to stay away from are the same 3 topics that you need to stay away from in your office: sports, politics, and religion. Unless your book is about sports, politics, or religion, and preferably in a nonfiction format. That being said, I do understand that there are religious fiction genres, and you want to market it to religious fiction readers. Do that on your site. Don't do it in a video for a host or outside of your site, and I'm going to tell you why. One of the best books I ever read was religious fiction, and had I known it was religious fiction, I never would have read it. Some religions offend other religions. Some religions do not choose to acknowledge other religions. Some religions used to stone and kill people for being other religions. If you are conservative, you will not want to read a liberal book. If you are liberal, you will not want to read a conservative book. If you are independent, you're not going to want to read either one because you're not going to want to put up with that mess. So, when you're doing an interview, you want to remain as apolitical, areligious, and asports. I know that's not a word, but I'm making it up. We get to do that. We're authors. As you can be. Because you want to bring in readers that aren't that religion, that aren't that politic, and that aren't, don't necessarily like the Giants. I'm not picking on the Giants. I'm not. Giant fans, do not come at me with that. Okay. So, and the reason for that is if you can make enough of an impression on somebody during an interview, they're going to go buy your book anyway. Even if they get to your book site on Amazon and it clearly says religious fiction, they'll still buy it because you've made enough of an impression that they're interested. Interview for your market. I am an adult author. I write adult books. My books have topics in them that children under the age of 17 probably shouldn't read, but most parents let them read, but they probably shouldn't read. Okay. If you write children's books, you have to interview differently. Here's what I mean. I can get away with all kinds of innuendo, almost cussing. I can't really think of anything else, but those are the 2 big things. And then my daughter, who is our preteen teen children's book reviewer, will watch videos of children's authors doing the same thing, and she'll say to me, Mom, I don't want to watch them. It's going to be completely inappropriate, da-da-da. Not interested. So And you got parents that if you're sitting there doing all this innuendo, they're going to be like, I'm supposed to buy this book for my 6-year-old? I don't think so. So you need to market, you need to interview for your market. Self-promote. Yes, the host should promote your interview. Joe's promoting this day. Joe is promoting our interviews. And thank you, Joe. But I have also posted this on my stuff. I will continue to post it on my stuff until she takes the author showcase down. Because you want your audience to go to their site to check out their site just as much as you want their audience to come to your site to check out your site. So you need to self-promote. And on that note, Lizzie asked me to mention something that a lot of independent artists, but especially authors, forget. And that is outside sources or concepts. By that we mean things like local coffee shops and local comic book stores are infamous for allowing local artists, but especially authors, comic book or otherwise, to post their work or put their work up for sale in their shop. When the book or comic book or picture or what have you sells, if it is popular and if they think there's enough of a demand for it, they will call you and say, hey, we're out of your books, come put some more up here. We're out of your tapes, come put some more up here. The same would be true for show flyers, book flyers, interview flyers, book signings. You could even ask a local coffee shop to do a book signing. Most people think bookstore for book signing. We need to think outside the box. Coffee shop. Heck, ask your local pet shop. Ask anywhere. Use the outside sources that are there for you. Okay? And that being said, you need to use groups and alumni pages too. My alumni have been amazing, and I want to thank you guys if you're watching. Thank you so much. Most of them have either bought the book, checked the book's pages out, watched my interviews. I've gotten great ideas for stuff to do from my alumni. I'm in groups that are not writers groups, and I get lots of ideas out of them. I get lots of ideas from my writing groups. Use the resources that are there for you. In this digital age, you can plug in anywhere and get an idea from anywhere. The most important thing is to have fun. This is fun for me. I like doing it. It is a labor of love. That is why it is 1:30 in the morning and I am sitting here in full makeup with my hair done, dressed, because I care about my brand, I care about you, I care about our industry. It's a labor of love, but it's fun. And when it stops being fun, I'll stop doing it because I have a day job. It pays the bills, but it's not much fun. And it already takes enough away from my writing time. So when this stops being fun, I'll stop doing it. So you need to make sure that you're having fun in anything that you do that isn't your day job, if you have one, and that isn't your writing. I'm not going to sit here and tell you the logistics and technicalities of making a video. There's plenty of internet sites for that. YouTube can help with that. Your individual software can help with that. There's just too much out there for me to do that. What I am going to do is to tell you to look at other vlogs and other videos. See what other people are doing. Don't take what they're doing. Use your own style, find your own voice, but look at what they're doing and see how you might want to do things. And just remember that the videos that you do, the interviews that you do, the blogs that you do, the posts that you put on your Facebook, the tweets you send out, the Instagrams that you post, all of it is critical and key to your brand. It just is. And you can take as much or as little as you like from this video. I hope that you will embrace video and see how integral it can be to an author. But if the only thing you take from me today is my closing line, then I have done a lot. So for Liz and Cheyenne and myself and the staff of Written By, I'd like to say thank you for taking time to watch today. And remember, to walk without dreams is to walk blind.